Welcome back to my channel. Today is a travel vlog and we are going to Glacier National Park in Montana. Once we landed, we went to go pick up our rental car from Budget and then headed to the grocery store to pick up some snacks and drinks. A little sneak peek of our haul, but we got the Lay's Wavy Funyuns onion flavored Funyuns. So excited for these, and they were delicious. After we got groceries, we went to Mudman Burgers for dinner. Everyone there was super friendly. I think the owners were actually in the store when we were there. They compare themselves to In-N-Out, but nothing can really compare to In-N-Out's prices, but the burgers are actually pretty good. We all got different variations of the burgers, and my cousin got a lettuce wrap burger, something similar that they do in In-N-Out called Protein Style. After dinner, we obviously have to go look for some ice cream, and we saw these two Huckleberry themed gift stores in the town of Hungry Horse. So obviously we had to go stop by. So we actually stayed in the town of Coram, which is pretty close to the West Glacier entrance, but these two stores are located in Hungry Horse, which is like a 5-minute drive. Everything is super close to each other. We then went to the next store called Huckleberry Patch, and it's literally like a 1-minute drive from the other Huckleberry store. This store had the best huckleberry pie a la mode with the huckleberry ice cream. It's so good. I definitely recommend checking this store out in Hungry Horse, Montana. Hello, day 2, our very first full day at Glacier National Park. We started our day pretty late and there was a lot of people going into the park, and we had some troubles finding parking at this trailhead. The trail we're doing today is the Trail of the Cedars, which connects to Avalanche Trail that goes to the lake. This trail is quite popular. We got there around 9 a.m. and both parking lots were already full. So we just drove down a little bit and we did find a parking spot maybe like half a mile away from the trailhead. I do recommend everyone getting there a little early or a little later after the morning group has finished their hike, so you can get a parking spot that's like closer to the trailhead. The Trail of the Cedars is like a nice little boardwalk, super calming, and then it breaks to the Avalanche Trail, which leads you to Avalanche Lake. I think the hike getting to Avalanche Lake took us about 45 minutes to an hour, and it wasn't bad at all, honestly. It was like nice, steady incline the whole time. There are signs at the beginning of the trailhead that says, bring bear spray because you are in bear country, but we actually didn't have time to rent the bear spray. Thankfully, we didn't run into any bears, but you never know, so always just be prepared when hiking. We took a few stops along the way to enjoy the scenery. Everything was just so beautiful. This day in the morning it was super smoky and hazy because of nearby wildfires, but it wasn't that bad. It really didn't impact our hike or our day at all.
It's beautiful though.
It was beautiful, and you can see like the sun trying to peek out from all the smoky haziness.
We're at Avalanche Lake. We can continue, but we're gonna go this first.
This is our only wildlife sighting of this hike, but the deer was so close and it was just eating its berries and leaves. If you do encounter wildlife on a hike, please make sure to give it space and keep your distance. We actually went on top of a rock so the deer can pass us safely and not feel like it's in danger or anything. That lady is not part of our group, but she really should have given the deer more space. Once you get to Avalanche Lake, you can actually walk along the shoreline. I guess it's called the shoreline and not on the trail if that's what you prefer. That's what we did, and we saw other people, walking along the shoreline as well. And then we actually saw someone fly fishing in the water, which is really interesting. After that hike, we made our way to Lake McDonald's to check it out and also to grab a quick bite to eat in the lodge. So here we are just walking from the camp store to the actual lodge at Lake McDonald. I don't know why, but we just pulled into the first parking spot we saw, but as we were walking, we're like, damn, there's so many more parking spots. So don't be like us and try to find parking closer to the lodge if that's where you're going. Lots of taxidermy inside. It was giving a lot of old school, rustic, ski lodge type of vibes. And from there, you can make your way outside to see Lake McDonald. You can book a scenic cruise or do some water activities if the weather is nice. When we went, the water was really cold, so I have no idea how those people are even swimming in that water. Anyways, we had lunch at the Russell's Fireside Dining Room inside the lodge. I got the soup of the day and french fries, and the group got burgers and salad. The food was pretty mediocre, so I don't know if I would come back again, but the view of Lake McDonald was beautiful, and it was on our places to visit anyway, so why not? After lunch, we checked out the Apgar Visitor Center. This is actually one of the stops on the Going to the Sun Road shuttle, which is a free service provided by the park. Since parking is pretty limited all around, there are shuttles to bring you to those more popular spots so you don't have to drive your car and risk not finding a parking spot. After that, we drove to the Apgar Village to go rent some bear spray at Glacier Outfitters.
The rest of your party and back away slowly, avoiding eye contact and speaking softly.
Speak
Most
soft?
bear encounters usually end here. But if the bear continues to approach you and gets within range, you may need to use your spray. What's range?
I saw this ice cream store, and obviously I'm on a mission to try all the huckleberry ice cream variations, so I got myself a scoop of huckleberry ice cream, which was delicious. Today we're literally taking it easy. We then went to the West Glacier Village to do some shopping and see what's around before we can check into our Airbnb. Went into one of the grocery stores and we saw this, and obviously it's huckleberry, so we had to try it. Sadly, it was not that great. Super pretty, but I would not recommend buying if you want to enjoy it for the taste. And that is it for day 1. Now on to day 2. We have a super early morning. We were out the door and on the road by 5 a.m. to get a parking spot at Logan Pass, which fills up very quickly. Also, the town where we stayed in Quorum was about an hour and a half away from the Logan Pass Visitor Center. So you gotta wake up early and do what you have to do to try to get a parking spot. We got to Logan Pass around 6:30 and the parking lot was maybe a quarter full, but there were a lot of cars coming up, so it definitely gets full by 7 to 7:30 in the morning. Here is the morning view from the Logan Pass Visitor Center. It was so windy, so make sure to pack warm depending on what time of year you go. So we actually started going up towards the Logan Pass Visitor Center, thinking that's where the Highline Trail started, but it was not there. You actually have to cross the road to get to where the Highline Trail actually starts. And from there, our 15-mile journey begins. We started at Logan Pass, and then we're going to end at the loop to take the shuttle back to Logan Pass Visitor Center. But look at these crazy cool views. You just have the view of the Going to the Sun Road, all the cars coming up while you're hiking basically on the ridge of a mountain, which is kind of fun. A lot of people choose to hike this iconic part of the hike and then turn back and continue on with their day. But if you want some adventure, you'll hike the whole 15 miles like we did. It was just views on more views, so beautiful, but a very strenuous hike. We saw some wildlife on this hike, which is very exciting. No bears, but we saw bighorn sheep, mountain goats, and more bighorn sheep.
Looks pretty nice. And then we just keep walking down this path all the way over there.
And this is where you can either continue straight to the chalet or take a little 1-mile detour to go to the Grinnell Glacier Overlook. Even though it's 1 mile, it took me like 45 minutes to an hour because the incline was just that intense. Like, I was having such a hard time. Once you get a little closer to the overlook, the road becomes pretty narrow and you're so high up and you have to like climb across these rocks. It was not a fun time for me, that's for sure.
Am I here? Turn the corner and we'll find out. Oh yeah, almost there.
And I made it to the top. This is actually where I unboxed the BT21 keychain. If you haven't seen that short yet, I'm going to link it up on the upper right hand corner, so check that out. But yeah, this is the Grinnell Glacier Overlook. Did I enjoy this part of the hike? Absolutely not. Would I do it again? Probably not, but if you enjoy inclines and you want to check out this overlook, I would say go for it. And then from there, we continued on our hike to the chalet. We had a nice little lunch break there, used the toilets, and then continued on our merry way. After the chalet, you hike your way down to the Loop shuttle stop, which is where we are to catch the shuttle back to Logan Pass Visitor Center to pick up our car. And I'm comparing my hand to a grizzly bear's paw print, but why does it look so small? My hands are not that big, I promise. So the shuttles come every 15 to 20 minutes and the loop stop is pretty popular, so if the shuttle is too packed, you'll have to wait for the next one. Luckily, we made it on to the first shuttle that passed us by. After a long and tiring day, we made our way over to the Glacier Distilling Company for some adult bevies. This distillery specializes in small batch whiskeys and they do everything in-house. They also have different spirits which you can try, and we got a few flights. So after we finished our flights and our tastings, we walked next door to Josephine's Speakeasy for dinner. So Josephine's Speakeasy is actually closed for this season, which was right after Labor Day in September. But if you are in town during the peak season, I would highly recommend it. The menu is limited and we literally ordered everything on the menu except for the salad, but so good. Today is the third and our final full day at Glacier National Park. We are headed to the Many Glacier area with the intentions of doing the Iceberg Lake Trail, and you'll see why we couldn't in a bit. It is a bit of a drive, so again, we left super early to get some parking. So we arrived to the Swift Current Motor Inn for parking, and then we see signs saying that the hike we want to do is closed due to bear activity. A bummer, but we pivot and hike the Grinnell Glacier Trail instead. The trailhead has a dedicated parking lot, but it looked pretty full when we drove past it, so we decided to keep our car at the Swift Current Motor Inn and just walk to the trailhead, which may have been a mistake in hindsight because that walk back to the car after hiking all day was rough. So our destination is actually Grinnell Lake and not the Grinnell Glacier because that would have just been too much after yesterday's long hike. On this hike we passed by Swift Current Lake, Lake Josephine, and Grinnell Lake at the end. So at the Swift Current Lake, you can actually book a boat ride that'll cut a few miles off of your journey, but you'll have to book tickets in advance online. There's the boat. Make sure you book your tickets online if you want to save a few miles on your hike. Once you pass Lake Josephine, the hike becomes pretty easy. Everything is relatively flat, so nothing too strenuous.
Raspberry! I'm gonna eat it. Yum!
There is a part of this hike where the trail splits off and you can hike up to see the hidden waterfall, which was super easy and I think it's definitely worth it. And here we are at Grinnell Lake. So the section that we are on now was separated by water, so we had to cross a pretty long stretch of log, but I think it was definitely worth the risk. But yeah, we skipped rocks, ate our lunch, and spent about 45 minutes here just enjoying the beautiful views. As we're packing up our stuff to hike back, this guy crosses to the island that we're on to let us know that this whole time we were just skipping rocks, there were two moose right across from us just drinking water from the lake, and oh my gosh, I was shocked. I mean, big shout out to this zoom because look at these majestic creatures. The zoom on this camera is insane and I'm so glad I was able to capture it. On our hike back, we stopped by the Mini Glacier Hotel, which is situated on Swift Current Lake, and just look at the views, they're gorgeous. We really stopped here to use the restrooms, but then we went upstairs to explore a little bit more and found this cute little patio area. While we were on the patio, we overheard a woman telling a story about how her son hikes here a lot, and he hiked up to the smokehouse right on top of the mountain. So of course I had to test out the zoom again, and yes, there was a smokehouse on the very top of the mountain, so it was super cool to see. Overall, Glacier National Park is so beautiful, and if you have a chance to visit, do so soon before all the glaciers melt. Definitely worth your visit. To wrap up the last day, we had burritos and quesadillas at the Wandering Gringo. It's cash only, so if you do plan to come here, make sure you have some cash on you. I got the quesadilla, which was delicious, and everyone else got burritos, which were massive. And on the fourth day before our flight, I found this pho place because I was missing Asian food, but it wasn't that great, so I can't recommend it. This is the end of the vlog. I hope you enjoyed my trip to Glacier National Park and hope this video helps you if you are planning a trip to Glacier National Park in the future. Make sure to like this video, subscribe for more video content, and comment if you found this helpful. See you all soon. Bye!